So whether it is a testing or a waterfall model, V model, Agile model, it doesn't matter. So anywhere testing process is common. It's a static, slightly the types will vary, but process is same. The sequential steps you will perform any company you go. So that again automation tester involves, that's a little bit different. But a manual tester or functional tester. So those two will be same, manual tester, functional tester, both are same. But what is the testing process we will follow? So the testing process is from the beginning of the project to till the release of the project. Till the release of the project, what are all the testing activities you will carry out? So that is called testing process or testing life cycle. And there is a test process, everywhere test process will be there. And the process is basically, it comprises of many activities: planning, monitoring, controlling, analysis, test case design, test implementation, execution, and completion. So these are all comes under a test process. So now here also we are going to perform different activities. First, as I mentioned yesterday, whenever your project starts, you will get a requirements. That requirements you need to understand them properly. You need to understand them properly. Some companies will give a detailed report, detailed requirements. Some companies won't give a proper requirements. What you have to do such cases, you need to work with the development team, business analyst. So whether this approach, this is the expected result or not, you need to get a clarity. Okay, you need to get a clarity, then you start testing. That's the first requirements gathering means. Basically understanding the requirements. If requirements are not there, get a clarification from the development manager or whoever developing the application. Developer might have knowledge. And once you get a knowledge, then test plan is prepared by senior test engineer or your QA manager. Manager will be your manager, test manager. He will prepare the test plan. Test plan is nothing but how you will perform the testing, where you will perform, when to perform, what to test, what not to test will be there in the test plan. That is prepared by your manager. Don't worry about that. And main task for you is test case design. This is the core responsibility of a tester. Test cases you will write based on the requirements. Test cases means what? How many ways you can test your application? That's what the test case. Test case is not just one flow. Okay, so if they give one application, how many ways you can test? What are the different test data you are going to use? What steps you need to follow? What is the expected result? You will fill all of them in the test case document. Test case name, what test data you will use, what are the test steps you need to follow, and what is your expectation, customer expectation. Basically, your expectation means customer expectation. You are just voice of a customer. A tester is a voice of customer. So whatever customer wants, you are representing him, and make sure that is there in the application. Once all test cases are designed, then make sure you review those test cases, not you. So whoever designed the test cases, the other person or your colleague or development team, somebody will review those test cases. Reviewing the test cases is done by peer-to-peer or technical reviews. If any review comments are provided, so add those changes into document, test case document. If no review comments are there, that is the final draft. That's the final draft. So test design. So understanding the requirements. If you are not clear about the requirements, you can talk to business people, product managers, development managers, developers, get clarity on them, and then design the test plan by QA managers, design the test cases by tester. Who will do that? Test case design purely by testing team. That's a tester responsibility. Next, on what basis you will design the test cases? Requirements based. Either user stories, screen layouts, or requirement document, anything, something you have documents regarding requirements. Based on that document, you will prepare the test cases. So design the test case is the technical word, and write the test case means it's a very old term. That's a difference. Otherwise, writing the test cases, designing the test case, both are same. Okay. Once a test case design is done, next reviews must be done on that test case document. Next, test implementation. Test implementation means preparing the environment for your test case execution. So basically, preparing the environment for test cases execution. So a preparing environment means, sir, I don't know how to prepare the environment. Don't worry. Development team sometimes will prepare. Some places a testing team has to involve. They will give a one manifest, the latest code. You will deploy. Just all user interface will be there. Don't worry. They will guide you also how to deploy. You can ask, I don't know how to deploy. Can you guide me once? So they will explain their process. That's how to prepare an environment. Once environment is ready, environment ready means what? Developers are completed their coding and they deployed the code in the environment. That means it is ready for testing. Once it is ready for testing, you will first perform the smoke testing. Yesterday I mentioned, you will perform the smoke testing. Smoke testing means build verification testing, whether the build is stable or not, application is testable or not. That is what you are going to check. Okay, so that is what you are going to check in the smoke testing. Basic functionality check, you will do that in the smoke testing. Once basic functionality is working, then you will tell, okay, basic functionality is working, or I can continue my detailed testing. I will execute now all the test cases one by one. So while execution time, If any test cases fails, you report a bug in the defect tracking tool. There are many defect tracking tools. ALM. ALM means Application Lifecycle Management. Jira, this is the very famous tool. Bugzilla, another defect tracking tool. Issue tracker. Even now, Azure DevOps also you can report the defects. Azure DevOps. So ADO we call them. So there you can report the defects. Now, for example, in the smoke test, if you find any blocker bug, you will report that and you will send an email to development team. Immediately you ping the developer who deployed the code and who has given the build, or you ping the manager, development manager or test lead, somebody, ask them, okay, this is broken. This is not working. I cannot test application. So report that bug and give it to them. They will fix and give the new build back to you for testing. So once they give you a new build, then you execute one more time, you will check. Then test case execution will happen. All the test cases, you will execute one by one. If any test case fails, mark the test case status as a fail, then file a bug. So defect reporting, if any test case fails, report that defect in the defect tracking tool with all necessary steps. Then assign to the development team. So development team will look into that bug and they will fix that bug. And once they fix the bug, they will assign back to testing team. So yeah, they will tell, okay, I have fixed this. So now you retest it. Retest that. So once retesting is done, you can close that bug. There is a life cycle for that bug also. When you open that time, it's an open status or new status. When it is assigned to development team, assign. And if it is fixed, it will be in fixed state or resolved. And once you verify that, you can make it as closed. And then, so that bug is going to be completely closed status. That's the final status of the bug. Open to till close all. If bug is not fixed, and you will reopen that and assign to the same developer. So that I will tell you the bug life cycle. And that's a retesting will happen. And about, so false positive, false negative, these are all not that much important, but okay. So false positive means tester finds the defect, but actually it's not a defect. Maybe you misunderstood, or when you are testing time, the environment, network connection issues happened, internet issues happened. That time you got a defect. But for others, it is working. Maybe some system issue also, or some cookies stored in the browser that might cause the problem also. So make sure you clear the cache and then test it. So all this, so that is called false positive. False negative means, so there is a defect in the application, but tester didn't find it. So you executed all the test cases for the mobile app on portrait mode, but so there is an issue. So that appear in unless you uses the app in the landscape mode. So that we didn't test it. So you got a bug, but you missed that. That is called false negative. Okay. So these are all different kinds of scenarios. So once the test case execution bug fixes are done, then you will perform the regression testing. So retesting, yesterday I covered. Retesting means already fixed bugs. You are going to test one more time, whether that is working properly or not. If it is working, you will close that bug. Then what is regression testing? Regression testing means, so when you test yesterday, it was working there. Now developer modified in the same area. Now a new bug introduced on that area. That is called regression bug. That means the developer introduced a new bug there. So once he fixes some bug, he should not introduce bug in another area which was working previously. If it is introduced a new bug by the development team, that is called regression bug. So previously it was working and now it is broken again. That is called regression bug. And you have to do regression testing, both passed and failed test cases. Both passed and failed test cases, you have to test it. So that's the retesting and regression testing difference. So retesting is only failed test case you are testing one more time, that is fixed by the developer. You are ensuring that the fixed bug is working or not, you are checking. That is called retesting. Regression means you are ensuring no new bugs introduced in unchanged areas of the application, and it is working as per expectation like previously. That is called regression testing. So in the regression testing, you have to test both passed and failed test cases again. That's a regression testing. If no new bugs are found, you will provide a sign-off. Then test monitoring activities will happen. Checking the testing activities like, status, how many test cases passed or failed. Test summary report, we call that. How many test cases passed or failed. How many bugs you reported. All this is maintained. So at the end of your testing, you have to clearly tell in the sign-off report, okay, what are the test cases you executed? Well, execution time, how many are passed, how many are failed? So failed one, again you retested and make sure that is corrected. So if it is still open, you mention a bug in that test case. So in the comments you mention, okay, this test case failed because there is a defect reported already. That's a summary report you have to give. Total how many test cases, how many are passed, how many are failed, how many bugs reported, how many bugs closed, and each status you mention. That's the test process. And so at the end of the day, you have to give a deliverables, test case document, test plan document, test log report, defect report, as I mentioned, right, just now. So log report is nothing but a pass or fail status with bugs. Defect report means, okay, how many defects are reported by the testing team, how many are closed, how many are in open state. So that summary, defect summary will give. So that is the entire process. So this, when you will give this thing, last sign off after, not before sign off. Sign off for a day, you will give all these details. So test log report. And every day what tasks you will perform? First thing, you have to check your emails in the Outlook. What you need to do? You have to check emails like this. So you have to go and check your emails every day. Okay. So go and check every day your emails. If anything, they ask you, you reply. So you have to reply. So this is the Outlook. This Outlook, you can see inbox. All right. Send whatever you want to send. And so you can use this Outlook to send mails. So and all those things. Okay. So this is the one of the daily activity. Always keep watching mails. So if anything you need to reply that mail. Okay, that's a very important. If somebody asking information from you, or you need to act it immediately, should not wait. That's a very, very important. Always keep watching your mailbox. That's a daily activity. And daily and also per day, you have to keep watching the mails. Who is sending what, and so if anybody requesting some data or information, immediately you have to supply the data and reply to that mail. Next. And so every day you give your test status. How many test cases are executed, how many test cases are failed, in total how many days you need to test that. So that you can specify that. And so attending the daily meetings. Attend the daily meetings. So attend daily status meetings and give your status. So what you have done yesterday and what you are going to do now, today. That's a status call will be there, and you give your status. If you don't have any work, you can ask your manager so about the work. So that is the whole process, testing process. So let me summarize once again. So requirements gathering. If requirements are not clear, you set up a meeting with the development team, business analyst, product owner. Make sure you get a clarity on the each requirement. Then test plan is prepared by test manager or senior test lead, or test lead will prepare that. You don't worry, you don't need to worry. So we'll discuss what content will be there in the test plan. This is one of the interview question. And test case design. Test case design is done by testing team purely. So testing team will do the test case design based on the requirements or user stories or some screens layouts also they will give. That's the test case design is done even very early of your so project beginning day. So project starts means immediately you will get the requirements. Once you get the requirements, start designing the test cases. Understand? Start designing the test cases. Designing test case is not easy. It will take time because you have to write all positive, negative cases. Positive flow means, okay, proper data you give. Negative flow means provide the invalid data or negative data. So that's a invalid negative data means invalid data. So that is called test case design. Once test case design is done, you ask for review. So who will review? Your manager can review or some development team can review, right? So development team also can review and business analyst or product owner can review your test cases. And once review is done, you wait for the build. The development team is working still. You will get some breath time and meanwhile, you prepare any other work or so test data, anything, you prepare it. Once that is done, So developer ready. So ready for giving a build for testing. Their development is done and they are ready to give a build for you. So once you get a build, first perform the smoke testing or build verification testing. Perform the build verification testing. Once build is checked whether the build is basic functionality is working properly, then you can tell that, okay, so basic functionality is working, I can continue further testing. If not working, you report the defect, send an email to development team, manager, your manager, everybody look and give the defect number. So they will work on that and give a new build to you immediately. Because you are blocked. You are not able to test it. So that's the how smoke testing is performed. So once smoke testing is passed, you can continue detailed testing execution. One by one test case you will execute, put the status, pass or failed. What is the expected result? What is the actual result? Actual result means application will give you. Expected means customer will give you in the requirement document. So application behavior and customer expectation both are same, test case passes. If both are not same, test case fails. Then if test case fails means report a defect in the report defect tracking tools. What are the defect tracking tools you have? They are also called test management tools. ALM, Jira, very famous tool. Bugzilla, another bug tracking tool. You can report the defects. You can search the defects. You can track them. You can monitor those defects. So that's the while execution time. If you get any bug, then it will be assigned to the developer. Developer will look into that and he will fix the code. And again, fixed code he will deploy in the environment. Then you have a latest code. So again, you have to retest that bug, fixed bug. That is called retesting. When you are testing first time, it failed. Now the developer fixed that. Now we need to verify that. If it is working, just simply comment that, okay, I have tested in the test environment or staging environment. It is working fine. So closing the defect. With the proofs, you give the proofs. Screenshots you add if it is working. So proof you have to show that. And then close the bug. Assign to the developer, close the bug. So like that you will do all the fixed bugs, you will verify. That is called retesting. Only failed test cases can be retested to confirm the fix is working properly or not. That is called retesting. Then what is regression testing? Sir, I haven't completed my entire test case. First execute all the test cases. Report all the defects. Every day defects will be fixed and you have to retest them and continue your testing. Not necessary you have to finish in the same day. Your testing, they will give some time. But on that time period, you have to finish the testing. Testing means what? All the test cases you have to execute. All the use cases you have to execute. That's a testing. Both verification and validation you have to do. That is called testing. And once that is done, your test cases are all executed, but there are some bugs. Those bugs also, some of them they fixed and you retested them. That is done. Test case execution is done, one round. All bugs fixed and you retested. Confirmed they are working. Now what is the next step? Regression testing. Final. Before giving a sign off, final. You are ensuring there are no new bugs introduced in the unchanged areas of the application. and the existing functionality is working as per expectation. So developer didn't break anything. So previously working functionality is working properly, so we're good. If bug comes, always report that defect. So if no new bugs are found in the regression testing, then give a sign off. Sign off, while giving sign off, what are the documents you need to give? Test case document or test log document, pass or fail status, bugs, test plan document, defect report. These are all things you have to give so that they will monitor whether you tested properly or not. So that is called entire testing life cycle. Any company you go, the same steps. What are your daily activities? This is also asked in the interviews. So once you log in first, so check your mails. That's a first activity. And respond to the mails. Then, so list out your tasks. What are the priority tasks? Which task you need to first perform? So make a note all those things, and order wise you can perform the task one by one. So attending the meetings, provide your status in the meetings. So these are all daily activities. Okay. So that's all about testing process. So these are all some of the things, but that's fine. Okay. But let me explain. See, these are all the platforms: Mac, MacBook, Windows, Linux, Android, iOS. These are all the platforms. What are the browsers? Chrome browser, Firefox browser, Safari, Opera, Edge. So Edge browser, you can see Edge, Opera, Firefox, Safari, Chrome. These are all browsers. Why you need a browsers? Why do you need browsers? Why do you need browsers? Oh,
To test like end user,
it's like end user.
client.
You're testing, madam. You are using browser still, right? You assume that you are not using testing. You are not a tester, but still you are opening browser and you're what you are
Searching.
For searching.
what you are searching.
Chrome and Safari.
Just for browsing purpose, right? Browser, why you will use for browsing purpose? Any application you can open on the browser. To open any application, you need a browser. That purpose you are using browsers. Not only one application, any application you can open and you can play around that. Okay. Anyhow, let's come back when we'll discuss a different view. Okay. Join the same meeting and we'll see that.